Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and it's my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So today we are going to review a mummy movie called Day of the Mummy. I was going to say that, but there's no that in it.
Day of the Mummy, a 2014 horror film.
Yes, exactly so. So this one is... this one was an independent type film project.
Yeah, I think it's independent. I couldn't get a lot of information on this one.
Okay? Yes.
I think it's independent. It may have done a limited cinema run. I'm not sure. It could have gone straight to television. Not 100% sure.
Yeah, not 100% sure either.
Doesn't matter. Now, this one was produced by, it had a four-person production team. You had Andre Monia as producer and Lisandro Novillo was producer. Mm-hmm. You had a co-producer by the name of Troy Skelton Sr., and the executive producer was Jesse Baguette. Baguette?
Sounds like a name for a bagel.
Stop it.
Or something.
Don't be disrespectful.
Sorry.
Now, directed by Johnny Tabor. Now, the cast. William McNamara plays a guy called Jack. We'll get more about him later. Danny Glover. He's sort of his boss, but he's not in the film, but he's in the film sort of because he's monitoring Jack's progress on this archaeological dig.
Yeah.
Using a video camera surveillance sort of thing.
You may know him from Lethal Weapon,
everyone
the
knows
franchise.
Danny Glover.
And of course the Saw Saw first movie, obviously.
Okay.
Go on.
Andre Monia plays Kate. Eric D. Young plays Cooper. And Michael Cortez plays Hassan.
Who's Hassan?
There you go. I think that's about all I'm going to talk about here. There's not a lot. I don't know how much it cost to make, nor do I know what it did with the cinema. That's what makes me think it was a direct-to-TV job.
So you guys know, this is sort of a cross between ordinary filming and a bit of found footage sort of style.
It's a bit of a mixture because, I'll explain. The guy, Jack, was given these video glasses to do some surveillance work, so some of it's through his eyes using these video camera glasses. So that's where it looks a bit of found footage, but it's not actually found footage, but you're seeing it through his eyes because that's what his boss, Danny Glover, was seeing.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
I do wonder if we ever did where... Mike and I, we bought one special eyeglasses, and they weren't that good. And they weren't that good, but I would like to see firsthand how it would look like when we actually wore them for an entire, not entire day, maybe for a couple of hours, and see how you would be able to.
Sarah, I tested them out.
I know.
They were only really good in full light outside in the midday sun where you had lots of light. Apart from that, it didn't go very good in shade or inside or in low light. So
I know. I'm referring to, would it be just like the found footage stuff? Would it be shaky? Would your vision be more
it'd be just whatever
fluidy?
Whatever your head's doing.
Or would you just be just like the found footage? Just your vision is like shaky, like
it would be shaky as your head is. If you keep your head still, the image will be still. There you go.
So it's not a bad movie, to be honest, guys.
We like it.
Yeah, I also watched with Mike last night. We watched this one along with two other found footage movies too. One was called Area 407 or Tape
407. It had two names.
It had two different names, probably for two different, could have been for America and for another place.
Another country, whatever.
Yeah.
So
and the other one was another mummy-related movie called The Pyramid. You may have heard of it, maybe, I'm not sure. Which is another found footage one, but more of a, in that one it deals with just a bunch of documentary film crew just come there just to try to get a few one-on-one interviews with the archaeologists on the site, stuff like that.
Guess what? Didn't go very well.
No. And of course, just like this movie, in that one, it jumped back and forth between found footage and ordinary filmmaking.
And the way it should be. You can't all be found footage all the way through it. You know, I mean, it gets a bit hard to watch.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah. So you have lots of it, but not all of it.
Yes.
Anyway, here we go. Done that.
Although it's pretty entertaining when you have a camera and it gets staticky and you keep wondering, is the person still alive in this scene, or is he dead?
Have a snooze?
Or is he just unconscious? Because, it's up to you to work that out.
You never know.
If he's moving, you could tell that he may be still alive. That's the interesting thing about this movie. Yeah, anyway.
I remember Dinosaur Pro. That was good.
That one, I applaud.
Everybody was wearing GoPro cameras and that, but they also pulled back and did ordinary shots.
True.
So anyway.
Well, I thought that was pretty cool, that one, especially. And it's been a while since we actually did a found footage movie of sorts. I don't remember the last one we've done. What would you recall? Which one was the last time? Oh yeah, I think I do. It's the Witch File one, obviously.
Yeah, I thought that was overdone. They should have done a bit more static shots instead of the handheld camera running around by some inept person using a camera. And I'm sorry, DOP.
Yeah, and a little bit more ad-libbed with the dialogue. It sounded too controlled.
Yeah, it didn't feel good. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I can't think of anything else to say. Do you want to get into telling the story there?
Yeah, so the story begins. Danny Glover's character, Kyle, he goes on about this extraordinary...
Not Kyle. Carl.
Will you shut up?
His name's Kyle.
So he's going on about the special diamond in this pyramid or in this tomb of sorts. And it's a very awesome, very big, big diamond. The cut kind of diamond.
Worth a lot of money.
Even though these days diamonds like that, they're not cut until they're actually done by a cut designer. Anyway, so he gets Jack, an archaeologist, and to go out and get it. I think that Jack has also been sort of assigned to other jobs for him, probably collecting bits and pieces and selling it to him.
He has worked with him before, yeah.
Meaning, Kyle is a sort of a collector, and he probably does illegal stuff too.
He's a collector. He's also a greedy guy. A bit like that guy in Indiana Jones, that Belloc guy.
Yeah.
He was just a naughty guy who dabbled in antiquities.
So Jack is sort of like that type of archaeologist in this movie, and he has a record that's not sponge, but he could have been arrested for this sort of thing.
A bit like Indiana Jones being in the wrong place, wrong
Something
time.
About I think one of the incidents was duplicating a special artifact and selling the real one to probably bidders, and having a fake one in its place given to gosh knows whom. Anyway, so he's assigned by his employer to go and search for this diamond. He's been offered a job to this Cooper guy to assist him on the archaeology thing that's looking for the special diamond and this tomb of sorts.
Okay, let's go back a little. Jack is put onto this team which is looking for the tomb. There is a story about the diamond there, but the real archaeologists are actually after the archaeological stuff for knowledge, where Jack is there for other reasons because Carl wants the diamond for himself and hopes that Jack can steal it for him. Yeah. There you go.
Long before this, another archaeologist went inside the tomb, and his guide and his cameraman never returned. Ooh. So anyway, Jack, he heads to Egypt and he meets the team, and he's really smitten by Kate, and they get.
I would have been smitten by Kate. Well, I think smoked might be a better word.
Yeah. Anyway, along the way to the site, I should say, not dig site, because considering it's an open tomb.
Well, it's you dig. It's the archaeological site. That's better, isn't it?
It's an open tomb or cave or whatever. Does not matter at this point.
They found the cave entrance, which goes inside a mountain, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, or a hill.
Or
anyway,
a hill and goes down there, whatever.
Yeah. So on the long way, Kate and him get chummy, and
And we think they did it.
And of course,
didn't see it.
And the next day, he tells her that it was just a one-night stand in the most horriblest way you can possibly imagine.
Ships in the night, yada, yada, yada. And she was a bit hurt by that, a bit rude.
Of course, she slapped him, obviously. So, anyway, they head to the tomb of sorts, and along the way, they also encounter some, Afghanistan or Iraq-related soldiers.
I'm not quite sure what country it's in. Is it Iraq?
It's in Egypt, but...
Well, okay. No, it would be Arab, Egyptian soldiers. Yeah.
Arab was the best word I could probably
Egyptian. They're Egyptian soldiers who obviously are a bit rough around the edges.
Yeah, and they tell them they give them their passports.
The first guys actually stopped them and checked their passports to make sure they had a right to actually be there and they weren't naughty guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, they eventually head out of the truck, and they're told by Hazir. Is it Hazir? See?
Whatever.
Their guide, who this is the following people who are on this team. There's the Coop, the head archaeologist, Kate, and Marty and Greg, I think that's and of Jack, of course. So that's their team of sorts. So anyway, as they're heading to the spot, they do have to get out of the car and have to walk the rest of the way because the rest of the way is very rough.
Yeah, across open country, which is not recommended for four-wheel drives or other.
Yes.
Excuse me. Without a camel, I'd be okay, maybe.
And they eventually get stopped again by some Arabs again.
And they were a bit naughtier.
They even get a little violent. Eventually, of course, Jack takes one of their guns and shoots them. And they then take their bodies and drive them out somewhere and dump their bodies somewhere else. I think that's how it is.
We think that's sort of renegade type guys trying to just rob people and stuff.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, that's the impression we got. So they weren't being naughty tourists.
Soon enough, they arrive at the tomb or cave or whatever, whoever's telling the story, and they head inside. And as they're heading inside, there's some hieroglyphic thingies where where it explains a little bit of the story about the tomb and its inhabitant. The mummy, I mean.
And the daddy.
Yes. Anyway, it seems to be tells the story about how there were two brothers and one of them did some nasty things and he was punished for his crimes. And somehow he's turned into a living mummy of sorts and he's been living, in those cave for all these years and stuff like that.
Lonely.
Yeah, and it does explain a little bit about the diamond, according to when Jack goes off on his own and tries to find out as much about the diamond as possible from some other hieroglyphics he found. It seems to be it's somehow located inside the mummy itself. How? We don't know how it got there in the first place. Maybe.
Well, they do rip their chest open and take the guts out. It wouldn't be too hard to find an opening.
True. So, anyway, they head inside the tomb, of course, and as they're heading inside, one of their men get attacked by their guide, Hazir, and he kind of punches a knife into his eye hole, I think, or his eyeball.
That hurt.
Ouch. Of course, Jack... And they get separated, some of them do, and of course they get, I think that there was a bit of a rock slide, or rocks start clumbering all over the place.
Oh, yes, and stuff like that.
Preventing the group to end up separating and try to find their way out. Of course, they do meet up again, and of course, he goes in search of Kate, of course, and he does find her, and they cuddle, do the usual nicey stuff. I think deep down he does like her in a nice, nice way.
She was pretty.
Yeah.
Cute. Yeah.
Yeah. So they do regroup, and of course they try to go find the place to find the exit out, because according to
there wasn't any signs there.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah.
According to most. Will you shut up?
Yeah, workplace health and safety. Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, according to the hieroglyphics, there is maybe a chance that some of the builders may have made a sort of an exit out.
An escape, yeah.
Yes.
For workers in case it's a cave-in or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, so they go in search. They go deeper and deeper into the tomb, and they eventually, I guess, let me see what happens next. Oh yeah, there was a few other cave-ins, and eventually they do find the sarcophagus that belonging to the mummy itself, and eventually. Oh yeah, I should mention, when they would go for another cave-in, I think it was, something grabs the guy with these who has eye damage, and gets pulled away, and he gets killed off screen. We don't see him again, I don't think.
You hear him scream, that's about it.
Yeah. Of course, Jack witnessed this, but his other colleagues don't believe him, obviously. And they eventually do find the sarcophagus, and as they're opening it, puts his hand in there and tries to find the diamond. He thinks the diamond is within the sarcophagus, and they then ask him, "You searching for the diamond?" Yada yada yada. They don't trust him. They don't trust him, and Coop is the most likely person who doesn't trust him the most.
Of course, he knows his history on some of the other dig sites where he got in trouble.
Yes. Anyway, that's why he invited him on the swing, because he knows he speaks or understands the language.
Yeah, he reads hieroglyphics like a second language almost.
Yeah. But then the mummy appears, and he starts killing Coop, and I think one of the other men, obviously, and Kate and Jack are the only ones that are left alive. Of course, Jack gets attacked by the mummy, and he gets knocked down, and the mummy's his assistant, who turns out to be Hazi, who is assisting the mummy. I think for generations he's been helping this mummy, obtaining new victims for him to...
And there's no tannel leaves. Okay.
No, not on this one. Anyway, he says each victim he takes, he grows stronger. Ooh. Anyway,
healthy to me.
Yeah. Of course, when he's about to plunge the knife and kill Jack, altogether, Kate appears and stabs the guy in the back of the neck.
That would hurt. Mm-hmm.
Of course, he collapses, and then our two remaining people, they head towards the supposedly exit they find, and eventually they get there, but of course they're being chased down the mummy. And so you guys know, he found on the victim I mentioned earlier, the guy, the archaeologist that had got disappeared along with his guide. They found his dead body, and they also find on him his wallet, his diary of sorts, and his...
Every good archaeologist has one.
And he finds a few
sticks of
dynamite, and so he ends up goes into the mummy's chest, and he finds the diamond, and then he stuffs a bit of a dynamite into the mummy and lits it, and then the zombie no more. Mummy no more.
That would hurt.
Of course, Jack and Kate, they soon arrive outside. We don't see how they exit, because there was only a little bit of a crack in the rock they find that could lead them outside. I guess they used some of the dynamite to get them outside. I don't know. We didn't see it. Anyway, they soon arrive outside, and Jack is fed up with this diamond and how he got it and stuff. So after listening to his ex-boss, he decides to chuck it away. And then he throws the special glasses and the earpiece. He has also an earpiece.
He had an earpiece so he could hear his boss talking to him. Yeah.
And he throws them away, and
they wander off into the sunset.
Yeah. In the post-credits, we see that Carl is talked to by the FBI at the at the Pentagon, and they're asking him all sorts of questions like, have you been involved in illegal activities in Egypt?
No.
And do you know anything about the mysterious disappearances of 5 people from the archaeology?
Of course not.
And of course, they mention Jack, obviously, and he realizes that Jack has gone ahead, contacted the FBI, and told them about his illegal activities. Then, before we can get into more of a discussion about it, we then cross over to Egypt, where we see the mummy's hand shooting out of the ground and grabbing for the diamond that's right next to it. Well, we don't see him grabbing it. We just see him hand shooting up.
Yeah, and then it goes to the credits.
Then the credits continue to roll. And then we fade to black. The end. Sorry I've been fast, but the stuff is mostly...
this is a straightforward movie,
straightforward,
this one.
And it's only 1 hour long.
It's not 1 hour. It's an hour and a bit, hour and 16 minutes or something. It's not a huge movie.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie. Yeah. It's enough action in it to keep it interesting.
Yeah, and enough to make you not less
bored. The story
about
is not too bad compared to some I've actually had to sit through. The film is not bad.
I gotta admit, it is pretty interesting.
And I like Egypt.
Yeah, and unlike other movies, it does have some interesting stuff here and there.
What can we say about it?
Yeah, I should mention, guys, that it does seem like I did think the diamond itself did look like it was chipped in the right way. I mean, sometimes diamonds like that would not be cut, obviously, and I don't know who would have cut them back in the day.
No. I don't believe they actually cut diamonds the same way we cut diamonds, but I think they might have done some sort of rudimentary cutting back in those days, but not as precise as what we do. Yeah. Maybe. I cannot be 100% sure on that. Maybe someone can fill in the blanks for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cutting of this diamond looks like what too new.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it reminds me of of my friends who made their fan-made version of Indiana Jones. Look, even though I knew the diamond was glass, obviously, and stuff like that.
And they picked up the local op shop or something or other.
Yeah. And it seems like, it's just like Mike says. It's not. It feels like it's just
too new.
It's too new.
Yeah.
I mean, the Egyptians may have been well crafted in their art and stuff, but they're not. They weren't all around, proficient with their work.
Well, they may. So I don't know when gem cutting actually started and who actually started it, whatever. But I don't know whether they use steel or bronze or brass tools when they're doing. I don't know what they actually use, but they did have metal back in those days.
I did know that they were pretty good with handicrafts, like making bead necklaces and stuff like that. Those are really crafty. I mean, creative.
Yeah, but they had metal back in those days.
Yeah. Anyway, I do think this movie's pretty good and a lot more better than not better. I mean, considering I do like the odd found footage where it doesn't have to have a happy ending. Obviously, it
sort of had a bit of the nice guy and the lady get away, and all the other naughty people get killed, and the not so naughty people get killed too.
Well, Marty and Greg, they're not bad.
They weren't that bad, but they're part of the bad team.
But Coop, I would have.
He was naughty.
Was not really a nice guy.
He deserved to die.
And I didn't like the fact he didn't believe that Jack saw or seen the mummy running around.
Well, would you? Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
He just laughed at it and even he didn't believe the whole diamond thingy wing. It was just probably just a myth, like some things are a myth out there when you think about it.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of myths, but also a lot of grave robbers too.
True.
If there was a gem there and the grave robbers knew about it, it would have gone a long time ago.
Yeah. Anyway, I did think it was not a bad one. I mean, I gotta admit, when you think about found footage movies, it's interesting where they all came from, some of them. I mean, like the first one was Blair Witch Project, and to this day, I think after when they did... I think
Blair Witch is one of the main ones that started.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I think that when they did what's that one called that deals with science fiction, called something Field, whatever?
Cloverfield?
Yeah, Cloverfield. Yeah. That one sort of started a trend, I think, because after Cloverfield came out, it started trending more and more found footages.
Yeah, okay.
I mean...
Not that I want to talk to people here about what they already know about, but for those of you who aren't in the know, look, if you're going to do a film, independent especially, a handheld camera is a really good way to go. So if you can work the found footage or handheld camera sort of stuff into it, I think Poltergeist did it too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Some paranormal activity or something on those.
They did paranormal activities.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, they did okay. Yeah, they did video stuff. Now, if you do it right and the balance is there, you can get away with it quite cheap. Run around for camera, everyone's going eek and whatever.
Yeah.
And you keep it interesting. You can get away doing a movie reasonably cheaply.
Yeah. I thought when I rewatched the Area 407 one that found
that one, which I didn't like.
I watched both that one and that Dinosaur Project movie at the same time while back, and I thought the Dinosaur Project was the better of the two.
I think Dinosaur Project. Or the Dinosaur Project, or Dinosaur Project.
It could be that Dinosaur Project.
That was well done because it had static cameras, like ordinary cameras, and then it had the GoPro cameras which had been strapped on the dinosaurs and different things. Yeah, that sort of stuff. So
I also think
it was a mixture.
Yeah, I also think that when they did the one in Area 407 it didn't show you what they see. I mean, you don't see what they're being chased by most of the time. You just see a tail, maybe a flicker or a flash for the camera. You don't see what is chasing you sometimes in this movie.
What's that sci-fi I saw the other night? The Terror Beyond Space? Or
The Thing you were watching.
No, another one about the big bird. Oh, the Giant Claw. The Giant Claw. That's a really good old movie. Now, most of the time in the beginning of the movie, all you see is a blurry image that they try to capture on their cameras from the aircraft and whatever. So you see, what is it? You don't actually see what it is until later on in the movie when you see a close-up of the man-made bird image and puppetry, and I think it's more puppetry than still frame in it. But it was quite fun. It was cheesy, but but sometimes what you don't see scares you more than what you do see.
Yeah. I think I agree with you on that one, Mike. I mean, I got to admit though that sometimes I do think found footage is a little bit scary when you think about it. The individual who's holding the camera, you don't know what's going to happen to them, whether they're going to get killed off screen or whether they'll survive. And most of the time, these found footages, these characters they get killed off.
Well, yeah, that's why it's a found footage.
Yeah.
We found a camera and the person's no longer around. Okay.
Yeah, like when they did the one with Area 407, they placed a warning on it saying, this is a warning saying these people who in this movie didn't survive, therefore, pretty much
blah blah blah,
blah blah blah, stuff like that. And it did spark. Well, it does make you wonder that some of the time when you think about that sort of thing. And it has a sort of in the background as a watermark a government sign that says this video is a government issue video, therefore you cannot.
So it had it tried to create a sense of reality in it.
Yeah, it's sort of like when they did Cloverfield. That one, I guess, the military took the video and then turned it to a sort of one of those kept closed secret videos that only Area 51 would be allowed to look at.
But if you make it real, I keep telling you that. Behind, not.
I also think they also made an Area 51 found footage too.
Well, I've told you many times, but in our discussions off, not on the podcast, that if you're going to make a movie, even if it's fictitious, a fiction, it's got to feel real, and that sort of thing brings you into the movie saying, mate, found footage, a sense of reality, yada yada. Some of those old sci-fis made years ago, they had a narrator introducing the movie. Back in the year so-and-so, blah, 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 blah. And it sort of brings you into the storyline before the movie actually starts, and that sort of stuff. And trying to place you inside the time frame and the story. Anything to do that in a movie is hitting the right mark because a movie is supposed to drag you in. And wow, look at Indiana Jones, look what he's up to, running around, and you don't actually feel like you're there, but it doesn't come over as fiction. It comes over, hey, this could be real.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way about certain movies, even back then and nowadays. I mean, I don't know why. I do have a rough idea that some of the movies do give you a sense of reality, stuff like that. And I feel the same way about watching E.T. The part with the aliens and stuff like that. And suddenly a boy befriends an alien. And I gotta admit, every time I look at that movie, my favorite scene in that movie was the flying bikes at the end, which is even cool. It makes me wish I could be one of the kids flying on the bike.
Well, you mentioned E.T. The thing that strikes me with that movie, that was a Spielberg movie.
Yeah, it's Spielberg.
Now, it felt real because they focused on the kids. And the human beings. They didn't focus on the alien. They focused on the kids and how the kids and the alien interacted. You see? So they brought a sense of reality, normal mums and dads, normal neighbourhood, normal kids, that sort of stuff. In comes this little alien guy who needs a bit of help. So if they just focused on the alien, pardon my tongue, I'm just breaking a new tongue here. If you focused on alien, it probably wouldn't have been as good. So true. So that's good to get the balance right.
Yeah. I guess you have a point. I did mean that. I think I read somewhere that Steven Spielberg commented that when he did the remastered version of E.T. years later, which was not too long ago, he was annoyed that there were certain things he had to cut here and there.
Oh, in the original cut.
Yeah, he got annoyed that he had to make some difficult decisions about that.
Did he? So he did a recut it and brought them back in, or the
what?
When did he recut it recently? Did you?
Yeah, not too many years ago but in 2000.
Did he add those scenes back in, or?
Well, no. He had to take them out. I think he was just annoyed, and he's remarked to independent filmmakers and other filmmakers out there: never do this to a movie that you believe in.
Yeah, I can't say you take too many things. Actually, you take stuff out, which doesn't help the story. Like, you remember Alfred Hitchcock, that biodrama type thing with the what's called the one of where he's doing Psycho. What's the movie called? Hitchcock. Yeah, that movie there. He was doing Psycho, and the first cut of Psycho, we ran it through, he thought was boring and dead. And then he went back into the editing room and cut it, say, 15, 20 minutes out of the movie and made it what it is still today. Think the guys, what would have happened if it was not cut properly? And that's it. But you do good cut. You cut out stuff you don't need, leave the good stuff. You don't take good stuff out, which helps the storyline. I think that Spielberg was talking about something. You leave the good stuff in if it helps tell the story and reinforce something. I've seen some cuts where they've taken bits out and they've taken an interesting part out which actually joins the story together. And all of a sudden you're wondering why the people are doing this. A scene's missing. Yeah, why have you taken that scene out? I guess a lot of people seem to say this about new movies at the moment. I don't know why. Yeah. It seems like an ongoing thing. It is a problem. You don't get the balance right, you're going to kill the movie. No matter how good or bad the movie is, it still has to tell a coherent story. Yeah, so you have to be careful, guys. So as I said before, I do think this movie is not too bad. I don't like a lot of found footages, but I think this one does take my interest here and there. It's not actually found footage. It's done using that video camera, which is what we're seeing, what Danny Glover's seeing. Yeah. That sort of stuff. Yeah. So it's not actually found, but it's bordering on found footage. How's that? Yeah. Anyway, so would you like to rate this now, Mike? Yes, I would like to. Now, having said that, I don't think it was done. I think it was done as an independent film. Yeah, I think so. It may have gone straight to DVD, or it might have gone to a TV job. I don't know. I couldn't find information. I don't think it was a mainstream, unless it had a very limited run. I don't know. Cannot tell you that one. Nope, now, having said all that, I can find nothing wrong with the movie. I've been to Egypt and I've been on archaeological digs. I felt like this movie captured that sort of scene and that atmosphere. So they did take a bit of time to actually make it seem real. Their characters were believable. The filming was good. The lighting and everything else. I can't find anything major. Yeah. There was a dark scene too, but you're going to expect a dark scene too inside a tomb, you know. Yeah, and you can't have everything fully lit all the time. And a few moments where it blacks out and you don't... Where the camera drops out or something for a minute because it's supposed to be on the ground. Most of the time...
it gets
jiggled,
and sometimes you don't know what's happened in the scene.
Yeah, and then that's a sense of reality. That's what if you drop the camera, it's not going to go. Oh, I'll just float down to the ground here for a moment. No, it's going to go jiggle, 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 and roll around a bit.
Yeah.
And they did that really nicely, and it worked. It's not over the top bad jiggling, so you can actually watch it, which is I like that. My eyes hurt. So I like it. So I'm going to give this probably 8.5 to 9. I'm going to give it a 9 because I like the way it was done. Yeah.
I'm going to give it 9 out of 10 too. I mean, I wouldn't make it higher, but I thought that, well, as I said before, not all found footage movies are my fave. Because there will be this one is not too bad. It reveals the interesting parts to the movie, like the antagonists that are chasing them down, the full mummy that's growling in your face, and instead of, unlike the other movie I said before about Area 407, that one didn't even show you too much of the antagonist being chasing our heroes.
Shame.
It left it up to interpretation, and you don't know whether they were dinosaurs or they were just aliens from another outer space. Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Are we feeling it was a little dinosaur type critter?
What?
Don't we both feel it was a little dinosaur? Wasn't it? No?
Huh?
Dinosaur? The other one?
Yeah, the Area 407, whatever.
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
That was not the best quality one.
We feel it was a dinosaur, but we're not sure. We think it was.
We saw a few velociraptors running around, and then a very big, large T-Rex. And it didn't. And of course, that was during the day when we find out at the end that it's actually dinosaurs in this area, sort of like.
No, you don't notice it during the movie. Yeah,
yes.
So right at the end, right, okay.
Yeah, someday I guess I might review those movies in the near future.
We might have a go at it,
and try to work out the story for those ones too.
Having said all that, availability, folks, my favourite bit. Aha, it's available. There you go. Now, eBay, plenty for sale. Now, wait a minute. There's Amazon, it's rentable, and there's plenty for sale.
Right.
However, some of the listings on Amazon, I've got the date wrong. It's called Day of the Mummy. The movie was released in 2014.
Right.
However, some of the Amazon listings have got 2017 for some stupid reason.
No.
Do not know why. So if you go looking for it, look for the producer, director maybe, Johnny Tabor, or the main actor, which is William McNamara. If you find those names hanging around there, you know you got the right product.
Yeah.
There you go. And Danny Glover, obviously. So you see those names pop up.
Yeah. That won't be too difficult, considering that Danny Glover is still a well-known actor to this day. I'm just saying,
when you're looking for it, go in there and open the file and have a look who the director is and who the actors are. That's what I just said. So the main actors and the director normally show up on the product. So there you go. And you should get the right one. I don't like people grumbling on Amazon and other places saying, they sent me the wrong movie. No, you ordered the wrong movie. So no. So don't bag Amazon or eBay or anything like that if you ordered the wrong product. Okay?
Yes. So anyway,
so be careful.
That is about it for us all, guys. So as I said before, check out this movie and let us know in the comments what you guys think of this movie, obviously. So if you like it, please press like on our channel to say that you like it. Oh yeah, and be sure to subscribe to our channel, guys, if you want to see more and more reviews to our channel.
We've done lots, haven't we? Heaps and heaps of them.
Yes. So be sure to subscribe to our channel so you can hear more about our theories and our thoughts on movies in general.
And this is crazy man. Sorry. And this wonderful lady.
Yeah. Well, which one's the crazy old man?
Well, I'm the old man. You're a lady.
Well, I never knew the difference. So, anyway, be sure to check out this movie. Let us know in the comments what you think of it. And You know where to find, but get it. Obviously, Mike just mentioned it already.
I only mentioned eBay and Amazon because they're the main ones, but lots of other streaming services and other platforms you can buy off.
And maybe they might be on Netflix. I don't know.
Well, they might be, but if you can't, they're going to be on eBay and Amazon. And Amazon does hire them out. They are rentable off there sometimes.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases they are. So,
So
there you go then.
Yeah. So, anyway, thanks for listening to our latest podcast, everyone. This is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael.
Saying see you guys around. And we'll see you guys on our next podcast on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.